Hello to all you lovely restarters out there. My name is Graham Hyde from Polar Thinking, and today I'm going to be talking to you about mental health as an entrepreneur. I got sick of me not being able to make the decisions, about creating somebody else's dream and making it happen for them, putting in all my energy, all my work, all my creative brain, everything into creating somebody else's future. It was time to break that chain and actually do it for myself. Some of the clients that I've been working with have been really sort of good, great national brands, and I've actually made real genuine change to the way that they think about things in terms of their leadership and their styles and the way that they work. But I think importantly as well, in terms of mental health, really giving people the confidence to change what's been hanging around their neck and causing them problems before, and enable them to break on and be the success that they wanted to be. If I was going to think about the first thing, the very first thing I would recommend to a restarter wanting to grow their business is realize you can't do it all yourself. You will need help. You will need support, whether that's your loved ones, whether it's the people around you. It doesn't really matter. You're going to need help. Ask for it, look for it, recognize what bits you have to do yourself and add real value, but also recognize the bits that basically somebody else could do for you and perhaps can help you with. But at the same time, certainly on the mental health aspect, never be afraid to talk to other people when you're struggling. I'm going to give you the 6 things that I think are probably the great start points that if you can manage these will really help your mental health going forward as an entrepreneur. Number 1, find your why. This is at the heart of being an entrepreneur. Why are you doing this? What gets you motivated? What gets you passionate about what you do? Because if you know your why, you will be able to ride the down days so much better than if you don't know what you're doing this all for. It's your anchor, your point that you can hang on to in the middle of all your crises and the way that things are going. Remember why you're doing this. It's so important. Number 2, learn to say no. As entrepreneurs, we want to hold on to things, we want the control, we want all of that. But we need to learn to be able to say no, whether that's no to a client or look, no, but not yet, in terms of a deadline. Thinking about the staff or your team when they're demanding from you. Can you basically say no? Can you delegate? Can you look at different ways of doing this? This will stop you becoming overrun with requests, with demands for you to do sort of things. And think about how that basically will free up some of your energy and time. So learn to say no. Ultimately, learning to say no will be a real relief in terms of your mental health. Number 3, set and share your goals. Goals, we all know about the importance of setting goals and about how that enables us to get where we want to be because we've got that clarity. The important thing for your mental health is to share those. Now, if you're sharing your goals, what's the benefit? Well, the fact is somebody else knows that you've set this target, that it's on your mind. They can sense check whether maybe you're pushing yourself a little bit too far or not. They can also basically keep you accountable. Now, if you're sharing that with the team that you work with, that's brilliant because everybody's aware. You've got that transparency piece that's really good and all that good stuff. But I think at the same time, it's about making sure that somebody else is aware of your goals and that your goals can be held to account, that you can have people that understand where you're trying to achieve and understand maybe when you're pushing yourself too hard for things that perhaps aren't necessarily reachable, attainable at this stage. Tip number 4, stop trying to be perfect. I know we all want things to be perfect. We're bothered about quality. We're bothered about it being right. We're bothered about making the difference that we believe is there. But I tell you what, most customers and most clients don't notice the difference between 99.9% and 100%. But finding that extra 0.1% is what kills you as an entrepreneur, chasing that perfection dream. You get overly locked down into the little detail that basically isn't really adding true value. You lose time, you lose energy, you get ground down by the fact you can't hit perfection, but you constantly want it. So think hard about chasing perfection. It's not good for your head. Keep yourself focused on what the customer wants. Make sure that's the primary point of what you're thinking about. Number 5, be open. That's be open about your mental health. Be open with your team, be open with clients. If you're suffering from a crisis within your mental health, or if you know that you could have areas of challenge within your mental health, be open with people. Make sure they understand that. As part of reducing stigma worldwide in terms of mental health, I think this is something we all need to do. We need to be mindful of the fact that sometimes we get bogged down, sometimes we have challenges, sometimes we're in good places, sometimes we're not in such a good place. Being able to be open and discuss that is key to making sure that you have no issue working hard on your mental health as part of your personal brand and your personal ability to be the best that you can be. Tip number 6, think about your batteries. Do you let your mobile phone run down so that it's completely dead? Now, if you did, what happens to your business in that time when the phone is down? What can you do? No calls coming in, you can't make calls. So think about that in terms of yourself. Think about your batteries. How do you make sure there's a good battery level in you? How do you take breaks? How do you make sure you get rest? How do you eat and sleep well? All of that is about making sure that your batteries are running the best that they can be, and you're checking and recharging them whenever you can. If you don't, you will have problems with your mental health. Everybody across the board will be stretched to tiredness, to stress levels, cortisol higher in the body, all of that kind of stuff. That means that you need to look after number 1 and charge those batteries and keep them going. I think when I very first started out for myself, my biggest thing is to think that I'd sealed a deal before I had. In part, it's because I thought I was clever. I thought I knew what the customer wanted without actually truly listening to what the customer wanted. I thought I knew better. I wasn't truly listening to the voice of my customer. Once I really sort of worked out a way to truly understand what the customer wanted, it was a lot easier to deliver it from that point on. So that would probably be my biggest mistake, was not listening to customers properly. I've learned to make sure that that's at the heart of my business processes now. We've seen so much change over the last few years. We've often seen that now people are putting in things like mental health first aiders into the workplace, that it's a lot more open for people to be able to talk about their mental health, to be able to seek help and get the guidance that they need. So I think in that sense we're seeing a real positive shift in terms of mental health, and I think that will continue to be very much on the agenda. Whilst it's very much a management and leadership hot topic at the moment, I think it will stay there. The whole incident with coronavirus and lockdown, think about in your team, think about kind of how you've reached out to your team to basically keep them engaged, to consider their mental health. It's now on the agenda that you're doing that. Are you doing it for yourself though? And I think that's the big thing. Are you sort of thinking about your own mental health in this time? Are you thinking about how you can be the best that you can be? And remember, my tip is don't be afraid to seek help on that. Get in touch with somebody that you trust, talk to them, pick their brains, just have a conversation about how things are and how things are doing. Sometimes, even when we feel as though we're dumping a little bit of our kind of baggage about how we're feeling, this can be really useful in helping us to see what our next steps might be and how we can look after ourselves better. So, thank you very much, We Starters. All the best.